Two people retire with the exact same money, same savings, same withdrawal rate, same long-term market returns. And 20 years later, one is financially secure and the other has quietly run out of money. Not because the market crashed, not because inflation surged, not because the plan was wrong, but because of what happened on a Tuesday morning. A quiet Tuesday. The kind where you wake up and realize no one needs your judgment today. No one is waiting for your call. No one expects your answer. And in that moment, something subtle begins. And you start having to fill the space. And the way you fill it quietly shapes everything that follows. I guarantee this video will surprise, shock, but more importantly, I'm hoping you'll just quietly nod when you realize the truth. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you 3 exercises that I almost guarantee you, your partner, or even your financial advisor, you miss these in your retirement plan. Look, if challenging retirement assumptions is helpful, would you like and subscribe, please, so you won't miss the next assumption that we're going to pressure test together. So, the first weekday after retirement, it feels peaceful. You wake up without an alarm, you stay in bed a little longer, you meander into the kitchen, you make some coffee, you sit at the table, you reach for your phone, just out of habit. You expect some messages, but there are none that require you. You sit there for a minute, a little longer than usual, then you decide, I'm out. You decide to leave the house. You drive to a coffee shop. You tell yourself, hey, it's good to get out. Short-term consequence, the morning feels active. The longer-term ripple, leaving becomes the answer when the day feels empty. A few days later, you meet someone. They ask you, hey, what do you do? You pause and you give some kind of ambiguous, vague answer, and you feel the gap. Because for decades, the answer always came so easily, and now it doesn't. You notice how much space the title once filled. What's the short-term consequence? Discomfort. What's the longer-term ripple? You begin searching for something to replace it. I faced this shift myself. I ended my career as the CEO of a venture-backed startup. At the time, my phone rang pretty constantly. Decisions mattered. And then I had to step away to care for my father as he battled Alzheimer's. And after he passed, that structure where I was needed, it disappeared. I assumed I would return, but time away and unfortunately, age, it changed the entire landscape. One Tuesday afternoon, I realized that no one needed my judgment anymore. What was the short-term consequence? The day felt really, really long. The longer-term ripple, I had to find ways to restore purpose in my life. A few weeks later, I ordered something tied to a new interest. Not expensive, but it was symbolic. It felt like a movement. It felt like direction. So what was the short-term consequence? Hey, it was exciting, right? Trying something new. What was the longer-term ripple effect? Buying became a substitute for building. So coffee out becomes lunch out. Lunch becomes errands. Errands become purchases. And each decision, right, it feels justified. Hey, I deserve this. I've earned this. Short-term consequence, the days feel fuller. The longer-term ripple, spending quietly shifts. One morning, the stock market, it dips. I check my account, and I check it again. Because now there is no paycheck arriving next month. So I thought about moving to cash. Short-term consequence, imagined safety. The longer-term ripple, fear begins to influence decisions. That afternoon, I left the house again. A small purchase restored control. What's the short-term consequence? Relief. What's the longer term ripple? Spending becomes emotional regulation. So, what does work? One of the most stabilizing roles can be found pretty close to home. How about time with your grandchildren? A scheduled park visit, reading together, either in person or at distance, helping with a school project. What's the short-term consequence? Presence, being there, replaces sometimes nebulous productivity measurement. Long-term ripple, your identity begins to shift from title to influence. Free time can also strengthen the balance sheet in a really different and unique way. Morning walks, strength training, cooking real meals, meditation. What's the short-term consequence? Routine returns into your life. You get a schedule. What's the longer-term ripple effect? Energy and confidence, they begin to grow. One evening, someone asked what I was working on. I described an idea fairly loosely. The short-term consequence, my identity felt restored, but the longer-term ripple is activity became tied to self-definition. So I began mentoring, informally, trying to find folks helping with small projects. Short-term consequence, usefulness returned. The longer-term ripple effect, my identity began to stabilize. So instead of rebuilding one large role, right, in my case, CEO, instead of rebuilding that large role, build smaller ones. Mentor, advisor, learner. What's the short-term consequence? Days regain that structure. The longer-term ripple effect, again, your decisions begin to steady. So how does identity loss actually drain your bank account? It is so subtle. When you don't have a mission at work, you look for it in the mall. New hobbies, new gear, new cars, buying the equipment of a life that you haven't even actually built yet. How about convenience? Work gave you structure. Without it, the 10 a.m. coffee run becomes a $50 lunch because you've got 3 hours to kill. How about the fear reflex? When you don't feel valuable to a company, you start feeling vulnerable to the world. You check the ticker every 10 minutes. You panic sell out of the market because you no longer have a salary to catch you if you fall. So how do you prepare for that identity shift before it happens? So here are the 3 things I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I'm going to guess, pretty much guarantee, that you, your partner, your financial advisor, nobody got this in your financial plan. Would you do me a favor? If somebody caught this and articulated this in your financial plan, I'd love to hear it in the comments. So first, the identity audit. Ask yourself, if I met someone at a party and I wasn't allowed to say what I do for a living, what would I say? If your answer is, I don't know, you've got some work to do. Second, practice some mini retirements. Don't go from 60 hours a week to 0. Take a week off and don't travel. Stay home. See how you handle the silence, because that silence is your new coworker. Get to know them, how to work with them, and how to benefit from them. Third, build a curiosity portfolio. Just as you diversify your stocks, diversify your interest. Volunteer, mentor. Start a low-stakes business if you want. Your value isn't gone. It just needs a new venue. So retirement doesn't change income. It changes identity. And the quiet decisions made in that space shape everything that follows.